Welcome to the WDIV Edit Bay. I'm Benjamin Bell, and today I'm sharing with you my top 10 Halloween movies. I've been watching horror movies ever since I was way too young to be watching them. The things I saw at a young age, I loved it. What makes a good Halloween movie? Well, to me, it's all about the slasher or the villain. You gotta have one good single entity that really stays with you after you're done watching the movie, that makes you turn on extra lights while walking through your house, or makes you hesitate when you open a door. Open the door! That's what makes a good Halloween movie. So let's get to my top 10. Number 10, An American Werewolf in Paris. If you've never seen the first one, American Werewolf in London, you don't need to. This movie is so funny. Sometimes a little too funny for a horror movie, but the humor just works so well. The werewolves were pretty good considering 90s CGI. The werewolves are pretty sweet. You gotta have a werewolf movie in your mix of Halloween movies, and to me, this is the best werewolf movie. Number 9, Child's Play. Now I picked the new one. I'm a huge fan of the old Child's Play movies, but when I watched the new one, I was pleasantly surprised at how well done it was. It actually had a more logical explanation of why the doll came to life, and I like that better than the old, voodoo or magical reasons why the doll was coming to life and killing people. My one complaint is, I think they could have reimagined the entire doll. They didn't have to make a doll that looked so similar to the old Chucky.
They're the same face!
They could have made something a little newer that looked like something a kid today would actually want to buy, because that thing was ugly. But the movie was still pretty well done. Number 8, Saw.
Did you see Saw? Of course I see Saw. Moz and I see Saw all the time. No, the movie.
Saw is a masterpiece. It really is. It opened up the gates for mainstream torture movies like Hostel or another one I'm about to mention. Number 7, Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is a lot of fun to watch. It takes a movie that you think you've seen 100 times and completely flips it upside down. What I like about Cabin in the Woods is there isn't one single entity. There's kind of a bunch sprinkled in there, but it's so much fun. Number 6, The Collector. The Collector is the other torture movie that kind of spawned because of what Saw did for the genre. The Collector was kind of a movie that came under the radar, and when I watched it, I was surprised at how good it was. The premise is a guy breaks into a house, but he doesn't realize that somebody already broke into the house and turned it into Home Alone from hell. The cool thing about The Collector is that it was greenlit for a sequel, The Collection. The Collection did exactly what you want horror movie sequels to do. Go bigger, go better, be gorier. It cranks this thing up to 11. You just have so much fun watching it, and it's pretty gory. It's just a really well done sequel, and you just don't get many of those when it comes to horror films. Number 5, Scream. I remember seeing Scream in theaters, and it's one of my favorite movies that I saw in theaters because I loved the audience reaction. I loved experiencing it with an audience. I love that it's threaded with commentary on the rules of surviving a horror movie and the ways to survive in a scary movie. Now, the sequels weren't all that great, but here at Local 4, we have a soft spot for Scream 4.
I know you.
Number 4, Freddy vs. Jason. I'm a huge fan of all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, except for Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That was a weird one that didn't need to exist. And I'm a huge fan of all the Friday the 13th. I remember binge watching those like crazy, going to Blockbuster and renting one each week. If you don't want to watch all of those or just pick one that's like okay, instead of watching a bunch of bad movies, why not just watch one okay movie? Freddy vs. Jason is actually pretty entertaining. The only funny thing about this movie is people will fall asleep and start their dream sequences in like the most random places. Like somebody will close their eyes and literally be sleeping and do a dream sequence. There's even a girl who's at a party and then all of a sudden she's in a dream sequence and it's like a cutscene that just shows her sleeping in like a cornfield. It's just ridiculous. Number 3, It Follows. I love everything about It Follows. It was shot in Michigan. The musical score is just phenomenal. And the entity in this movie is so creepy and it's so original. It's something you've never seen in any other movie. It reminds me that you just need a good idea and it just needs to be properly executed and you can have a really, really fun, good horror movie. Number 2, Jeepers Creepers. I love Jeepers Creepers because the Spring Demon, or whatever he's called, he is awesome. That is one of my favorite villains in any movie. It's like he's got so much personality for a demon. This movie is so much fun because it really does build up. You have a couple deaths, but you get that moment where it just goes crazy when you get to the police station, and I love when movies do that. Number 1, and because I haven't mentioned it yet, you probably guessed it, Halloween. How can Halloween not be the best Halloween movie? I mean, the soundtrack, you can't go trick-or-treating to somebody's house that's fully decked out without hearing that music. Halloween just works so well because it's set in a time when everybody celebrated Halloween. You have people all over the streets. You have the slow pace of Michael Myers. You know, I've been to friends' parties where they had Halloween playing on, you know, a screen or anything, because it just adds to the atmosphere of Halloween. It does it so well that Halloween 3 used itself as a prop on a screen in a bar. Halloween, my number 1 Halloween movie, because it just checks all the boxes and nothing else feels more Halloween than Michael Myers. So those are my top 10 Halloween movies. I'm probably gonna think of more on my ride home, but I hope you guys take a few of those suggestions. I hope there's a couple that you haven't seen and you enjoy them. I'm gonna be watching more scary movies over the next couple weeks, so if you have some suggestions for me of anything that wasn't on my list, please send those down below to the comments section. And from the WDIV Edit Bay, I hope you guys have a great, safe, happy Halloween.